Introducing Naturally You, a podcast celebrating the unfiltered stories of inspiring women, each one as rare, radiant, and resilient as a natural diamond. Hey everyone, and welcome to Naturally You. I'm really excited because today we have a special guest, board-certified pediatrician and my son's pediatrician, Dr. Amanda Kravitz.
Hi.
I'm really excited to have you on. This is so fun.
Thank you. This is so fun seeing you outside of the office. I love coming to your place of work. It's way prettier here than my office.
I want to talk about how we first met because I think it's so funny. So I think I was posting when I was pregnant and I was like, I don't know what to do. And you slid into my DMs.
I slid into your DMs. I've been a big Clear Cut fan for a long time. I am a diamond girl. My whole family, we love jewelry and diamonds, and so I followed you for years. And you posted that you were pregnant, and I was like, it was a couple years ago now, and I was like, I'm just gonna shoot my shot, kind of like dating. And I slid into your DMs, and I was like, I love your work. If you need a pediatrician, I work in the city. Let me know. And
it was like literally perfect because you're like, I'm on Upper West Side, yeah. And I was like, great, because I was stressing. I was like, how am I supposed to find a pediatrician? Yeah. And I was like, perfect. And I went super pregnant and I guess did like our interview.
You did like a prenatal interview.
I was so sweaty too, and you didn't judge me.
I don't even remember you being sweaty. I was like, she's so cool, she's so pretty, she has the best jewelry, please come bring me your baby. It was great.
And I was like, cool, I like her, she's the pediatrician, I don't want to like look around anymore.
I simplified it for you. I think if you like shop around too much for your pediatrician, it's like kind of becomes a whole
It's stressful.
Yeah, like focus on your baby, and we hit it off.
And I feel like when you're pregnant, I did like a lot of like reading and doing things like preparing for being pregnant, but I never did any sort of like preparing for like a baby, which I think I regret doing that. So I would say,
well, some people don't think about that part, like the fact that you have to go through the pregnancy's long.
I'm like, what to eat, what to not eat, what to do, what to not do, this sleeping position, what to
how
do.
you're gonna feel, and then you even think about like the
doula, the night nurse, the blah 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 blah.
But you don't think about like the actual baby, the infant that's gonna come,
the birth plan, and then once the baby comes, you're like, oh shit, what do I do with this baby?
100%. And usually the entire plan that you made like goes out the window.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, my birth plan that I wanted, it's something totally different than what actually happened, and now I have to take care of this like small tiny human.
Yeah, my plan was give birth. Like,
that's a good birth plan. I always am telling friends,
I'm
patients,
like, what's the plan? I don't know, like, I've never done this before.
For sure. You're like, just safely get him out.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I joke, if you go in with like too specific of a plan, it's going to be the complete opposite.
Well, I had friends be like, okay, you need to have the playlist and it needs to crescendo at the moment that you push, and like I'm like, but how do you know like this is gonna happen?
100%. I mean, there's people who bring like framed photos of things and like fake candles, and I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're in a hospital. Let's like, we can have a good vibe, we can have some music playing, but let's just like safely get this baby out.
I was like, I want no music, I want dead silence.
Like I want to hear my own breathing, and that's it.
But I think that's so crazy because in the hospital, they're like, okay, like, are you going to breastfeed? I'm like, yeah, duh. Like, of course I am. But then I was like, wait, I don't know how to do that. Like, I had no idea, like, that it had to be, like, every 2 hours. I was like, oh, the baby's crying. And they're like, yeah, it's hungry. Like, feed it. I'm like, how am I supposed to do that?
You're like, I eat 3 times a day. So, like, I figured that was the same thing. There's really not a ton of education. I think there's a big gap, and that's a lot of the reason I post on social media, especially in those like first few weeks of life. There's so much education about being pregnant. There's a lot of education about birth, and then there's like a gap about what to do in that like first week, 2 weeks, even first month with this newborn baby when it comes to breastfeeding versus formula feeding versus sleeping and all of that kind of stuff. I think there's a gap, and the hospital does some education, but obviously they're a hospital. They can't sit there with you for hours.
And I went to a great hospital, but I got like no education there.
Yeah, they send a lactation consultant, and some of them are wonderful, of course, but oftentimes you're asleep and like don't even know what day it is because you just gave birth. And then you go home and your baby's screaming and you're like, what am I supposed to do until I see my pediatrician? Yeah. So that's like the most common thing, most common gap I find is that moms and dads don't know what to do in those first few days. And so it's one of the things I post a lot about on social media so that people can, while they're pregnant, plan a little bit in advance and say, okay, here's, what we're going to do, our plan A, maybe our plan B once the baby's actually here when it comes to feeding especially.
I was lucky, and they don't do this anymore, but I got to go to Borum, which at the time was like, you check into, it's like a Korean-based like after birth care center where like I had nurses 24/7. That's where I learned how to like pump, breastfeed, do everything. Without them, like I don't know what I would do, because like my parents, like my mom didn't know.
Totally.
And
also, they did it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of our moms, some did breastfeed, some didn't breastfeed, but even
my mom
still,
didn't, so I was like,
right. And so, and even if for a grandma who did, it was a long time ago at this point. She's not going to be like, yeah, I remember how to use this Spectra pump.
oh, I was like, there's no way I would have known how to use that pump.
No, and there's not like there's not like videos. I'm sure there are, but it's not like you get the pump and there's a really easy instruction manual.
You're also just like, I like think I blacked out. Like, you don't understand, like I wasn't prepared for postpartum.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're just as much a pediatrician as you are kind of like a postpartum like therapist.
For sure.
I feel like.
For sure.
Do they like train you to do that in medical school?
No. Somewhat. I mean, we do get like mental health training, and especially when it comes to adolescents and teens, some of which you can use with new parents. It's a little different. A lot of it you learn by experience. Also, like I'm not a mom, but I'm a woman in my 30s, and I have a lot of friends who are moms, and so I can use my own experiences as well. But no, it's not a direct part of our training, and it is so much of what we do, especially in that first month, is supporting parents, because for the most part, as long as your baby is eating and peeing and pooping and sleeping, like they're going to be fine. But in order to do all those things, we need to make sure that mom and dad are feeling supported. And so a huge part of my job in the first, honestly, 6 months of the baby's life is checking on the parents as well.
I remember like the first couple appointments there when you're like, how are you? I'm like, not okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Everybody cries. Everyone also is just like,
and then I'm like, but wait, I was fine 2 seconds ago until you asked me how I was.
Because people aren't always asking how you are. Everyone's focusing on the baby, but not necessarily focusing on the parents. And I think it's so important. One of the reasons I love pediatrics is because we work with the whole family. Mm-hmm. And you're also on like autopilot, like go, go, go. And you don't have a second to think about yourself. And especially when you're a new mom, you were living in this world where you were just really thinking about yourself and your partner. And when you were pregnant, you were thinking so much about the pregnancy and how you were feeling and how things were going. And then you birth this baby, and now how you feel becomes relevant. You're not seeing your doctor for 6 weeks. And so the first person you're seeing who's going to check on you is your pediatrician.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people just kind of break down because they're like, oh my God, like, thank you for asking, or just I haven't even thought about it. I'm so tired, and I'm just having
also
an out
no
of body.
one like people are like, oh, you're never gonna sleep again, but no one like actually prepares you for like never sleeping again.
Yeah, it's my mom used to always say when she was raising me, like as soon as she had
why do they like make babies like that?
I don't know. I wish they just automatically slept 12 hours. It'd be so nice.
Yeah.
But she's still to this day like has 2 raised daughters, like 2 old daughters, and she's still like if we were to call her or text her in the middle of the night, she'd still wake up. Like she still has that. I think it's a mom thing that all moms just as soon as they have a baby know that if their child needs them, they will be awake.
You can never like fully relax.
You can never fully relax. Yeah.
Did you always know you wanted to be a pediatrician?
Yeah. Yes and no. I when I was younger also really wanted to do broadcast journalism, which is why
now you're blending the two.
I'm blending my interests.
She's always on the news.
I'm trying to do some TV and social media, but I wanted to do that. And my dad is a surgeon, and so healthcare was always in my world. And my parents definitely encouraged me to go the medical route. They were like, maybe you'll make it in broadcast journalism, or maybe you'll be on the news in Kentucky at 3 a.m. and the only people that will be watching you will be us. And so I thought about it, and I by the time I got to college, I was like on the route of going to medical school, and quickly after I got to medical school, I was like, pediatrics is for me. Adults are not it. Like it's just.
I feel like pediatrics are like really rewarding.
So rewarding. I love working with families. I love meeting new parents. I think it's so fun, and like I said, they need so much support. So I think it's like an honor to be able to do that. And I love children. They are cute. They also get better, which I think is one of the most rewarding things as a doctor. A lot of adult medicine is fixing things, but sometimes you're fixing it temporarily, or you're fixing one thing and then another thing goes wrong. And to me, that was less fulfilling than taking a kid who might be really sick, but making them fully better and able to like help them live a healthy life. So for me, pediatrics was so rewarding in so many different aspects. So once I picked it, I never looked back. I knew that's what I was going to do.
What's like a common thing that a lot of new parents are worried about that they like shouldn't be worried about?
Such a good question. I think judgment of how they are raising their child. And so I think especially in this world of social media, everyone has a strong opinion about something, whether it's how you're feeding your baby, how you're sleep training your baby, how you're holding your baby, if you're traveling with your baby. And I live by in every aspect of my life that comparison is the thief of joy. And I think especially when you're a new parent, especially living in a city like New York City, there are so many thoughts, opinions, comparisons. And I tell people that, you know, raising your kid has some art and some science to it, and you have to do what's going to work best for you and your family. So try to minimize the noise of what other people are doing or telling you is the best thing to do, and do what works for you and your child. But I think that comes up a lot. You know, my best friend did X, I feel like I should be doing X, but that doesn't mean X is best for your baby. And so I try in my office to like rid that guilt, rid that comparison from people, and work with them to figure out, you know, what's going to be best for them and their kid.
And that's so true. Like, not only on like TikTok are people like, oh my God, you should never like formula feed, or never send your kid to daycare, or like never sleep train or whatever.
Yeah.
But amongst like your mom peers, there's a lot of like, oh, you're going to do that? Okay.
So much of that. So much of that. Like, and it's a stigma that I don't understand. Like, why is there a formula stigma? Why is there a daycare stigma? Like, you just have to do what's best for you and your kid. I think especially with working moms, which I take care of a lot of in New York City, like, you got to just do what works. And I don't want, there's so much that moms are already feeling. Guilt is not one of them that is not a feeling they should be feeling. And so I try to rid them of that, but I think that's something that we talk about a lot in my office, especially for first-time parents, is this comparison.
Well, now, like, I think if I have a second kid, like, I'm just, like, not gonna care as much. Like, at first I was like, oh, I'm not good at breastfeeding. I have to, like, pump all day and get, like, 3 ounces. Right. And I'm like, this is, like, making me so depressed. Yeah. I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And then people are like, oh, you're not going to like give you the antibodies to your child or whatever. Everyone
thinks they're an expert in being a parent.
Well, everyone thinks they're an expert in everything.
Everyone thinks they're an expert in everything, especially in the world of social media. And they just have really strong opinions. And I think that the second time around as a parent is usually easier because you feel less guilty. You're just like, I'm gonna do what works. And I tried some things the first time. Some things were good, some things were bad. And this second time around, if you're like, I don't wanna breastfeed at all, then you won't breastfeed at all. Yeah. And if you wanna try it again, then you will. And I also tell people, you don't have to decide right now. You can decide as you go. If you wanna try breastfeeding for a few days and then you decide, it's not for me, then stop. So I just try and like take the pressure off. I just think there's already so much pressure on women in general. And then being a working mom, like, we could take the pressure off wherever we can.
What do you think? I feel like you mentioned, so many people have so many strong opinions who probably aren't board certified pediatricians. Like, how do you like navigate, oh, I saw this on TikTok, someone said this, my child shouldn't get this vaccine, or like I should space them out, or like I feel like it's a really hot topic now. There's so much noise from both sides and like lots of change in this space. Like, how do you navigate that with like your patients and also when talking to like your online community?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And it's one of the things that brought me to social media. I had so many young moms who were like, Dr. Kravitz, we are so overwhelmed online because every time, I mean, your algorithm is obviously like fit for you. And so it's all pregnancy and baby things. Yeah. And then they were like getting bombarded with all of this content. And it's really hard to tell who is believable, who is educated, where are these facts coming from. So one thing I did before I even started posting myself is I like made my algorithm as if I was a young mom, because I was like, I need to see what people are seeing. Same. And I need to hear what's out there. And even as a doctor, some of it is very believable. Like, I would find myself scrolling and I'd be like, oh yeah, babies do need that supplement. And I'd be like, Amanda, what? No. And so I sort of got used to what was happening online. And then I started my own stuff. And I think there's a lot of us doctor creators out there that are trying to sort of combat all of this misinformation so that people can say, okay, I saw 3 videos about the hepatitis B vaccine from different creators, but let me go look at the doctors that post on here and see what they talk about from a science perspective. And so the best thing that I can do is combat misinformation with evidence and with science. And so I do that in my office, and I also do that online in a way that's understandable. So I think some doctors are like, here's 3 studies to read about why the hepatitis B vaccine is effective. That's not convincing anybody. Yeah. I'm going to explain to you what the studies found in a way that makes sense for you and your family. And I'll do that online and I'll do that in person so that it's not me forcing you to do anything. It's me convincing you based on evidence why it's the healthiest and safest thing to do for your kid.
And I mean, like, I'm a gemologist. I'm not a doctor, so I'm gonna like trust what the doctor says, and I'm not gonna I just don't try to have opinions on things that like I didn't go to school for, like know about. Just like if you're gonna, someone's trying to tell me how to do my job.
Totally.
But, and I feel like doctors, where did the like skepticism of doctors start? Like, when did that start happening?
I think COVID affected it a lot.
Yeah.
I think COVID affected it a lot. I think in the last, 5 to 10 years, people are just chronically online in a way that we weren't before.
Yeah.
And social media has given people a platform in a way that they wouldn't have. And so, I mean, like, a creator who's maybe has 1 million followers is going to post their experience in a way that might be really convincing. Before social media, maybe they would have written an opinion piece into a news article, but it's not getting published if it's not legitimate. Now you can publish whatever you want online,
that's crazy.
Which is crazy. So I think it's the rise in social media, and I think there was some mistrust after COVID. I mean, this was a crazy pandemic, something that we had never experienced in our lifetime for sure. And I think there was one side of the world that became like so appreciative and thankful for all the doctors who saved so many lives and worked during the pandemic. And then there's, another subset of people who had a lot of mistrust in the community. And I still think we're trying to fight our way back from that and regain everybody's trust. I also think the political climate we live in now is creating a big divide in the healthcare world, and it's creating a lot of confusion, especially for parents of young children, which, again, is not something that I was trained in medical school to combat. So it's something that I'm learning as I go. But, I wasn't used to the CDC, which is where we used to always go for our recommendations, saying something different than the American Academy of Pediatrics. That sort of never happened before. And so it's been a really interesting thing to navigate as a doctor. And I think it's also really hard to navigate as parents too, because there's a lot of info.
I have some parent friends that like have multiple children, and they were like, oh, my biggest regret was vaccinating my older children. I won't vaccinate like my younger children. And it's like, but your older children are healthy and fine.
Totally. I think we see that. Luckily, in New York City, we have really good vaccine rates, which makes my job in general a little bit easier than in some of the states where the vaccines aren't mandated for school. And so, I mean, I have these conversations all the time, and I welcome my patients to talk to me about it because, like you said, not everyone's an expert in vaccines the way that I am. I'm definitely not a diamond expert as much as I wish I could be, but I still like people to ask me questions. I'm sure you do too. Like, you want people to question things and ask about things, and I'm very happy to have an open discussion about vaccines. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm forcing them to do something. I'd rather convince you to do something because you think it's a good idea based on the science and the evidence that I'm going to provide you with. But yeah, it's made for some really long appointments, some really interesting appointments for sure.
Because I understand like the sentiment behind not wanting to do some vaccines because you want to protect your child from unknown things, but then you also, on the other hand, like don't want them to get like measles or polio, which are terrible things that we eradicated a long time ago.
Totally. And I think
that are back now
because of the lower vaccination rates. And I think, again, I think it comes back to COVID and the COVID vaccine and people feeling nervous about that, and then starting to question all these other vaccines that have been around for years and years and years. These are not new things. We, in our 30s, got these vaccines when we were younger. The schedule has changed a little bit in the order that things are given, and there are some new developments, but new vaccine developments are only to help protect children from more vaccine preventable things. For example, RSV, we didn't have a vaccine for it. Now we do. We are seeing way less hospitalizations, way less sickness in young children. And so it shows that vaccines work and are effective. I hear people, I know that you could feel nervous about putting something into a young baby, but I think, especially as someone who has seen the devastating outcomes that can happen when a child gets sick with a vaccine preventable illness, the risk, which there really isn't very significant risk of a vaccine, is so much lower than the risk of a complication with actually getting an illness like measles or polio, like you said.
What's another hot topic around like the mom community these days that you're seeing with your patients?
Breast milk versus formula.
Really? Still?
Yes. I think when we were younger,
such good formulas these days. I feel like way better than I was a formula baby, and I feel like what I gave Max is I think probably way better. But again, it's like foreign versus like now.
Totally. I just think there's shifts in the paradigm. Like everyone got really when in the 90s, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, everyone did formula. Then there's been this shift to breastfeeding, and breastfeeding is amazing. Like I am a huge advocate for breastfeeding if it works for you and for your baby. But I think this narrative that breast milk is the absolute best thing that you can do creates shame for moms who feel like they can't do it for whatever reason.
Or if they can do it, but just like mentally, like don't want to do it.
But that's an acceptable
like
reason.
Kind of really hard.
Yeah, and I think they're like, well, my body is doing it, but my brain isn't doing well with this. But in my mind, and the way that I talk to parents is, your brain is just as important as your body. So in my opinion, even if you're producing a lot of breast milk, but your brain doesn't feel good, your mental health doesn't feel good breastfeeding, it's not worth it. It is really important to take care of yourself as a mother as much as it is to take care of your baby. You can't show up for your baby if you're not showing up for yourself. And so I just think there's this shame associated with choosing not to breastfeed, stopping breastfeeding, whatever it is. And I just want to get rid of that. I want people to do what works best for them.
Yeah. I mean, we switched over and you recommended Bobby and he got really fat and healthy on it.
He's perfect. Yeah. He's absolutely perfect. He's been thriving.
What are your thoughts? Like, I know as, you know, you have a baby and they progress in every stage, you can have anxiety if you're, you know, comparing to other kids the same age. Like, what are your thoughts or advice around that? If you're like, oh, my kid's not crawling, everyone else is crawling, or he's not eating solids like other kids, or not sleeping like other kids.
Yeah. So we see that a lot. We see that also with siblings. So sometimes you have one sibling, for example, my sister is listening to this, she'll laugh. I like walked a little bit earlier. I talked a little bit earlier.
You were just more advanced.
I was a little bit more advanced. My sister now is so smart, very successful, but she was a little slower on everything developmentally when she was a toddler. And it really freaked my parents out. Rightfully so, because they said, okay, we had this one child who did things right on time or a little early, and we have the second daughter who's doing things at a little bit of a different schedule. And I think that can be really anxiety inducing. So within your own family, or if you have, you know, friends that have kids that are going through things at the same time, there's a couple things. One, there's, you know, milestones that we talk about at every visit, and you can look them up online, developmental milestones, things that your child should be meeting at different ages. I tell people, though, those are averages, those are goals. Just because your baby doesn't do one of them doesn't mean they are developmentally delayed. But it is important to track those to make sure that your child is developing appropriately. I'm also a really big advocate of like preventative medicine and early intervention. And so if your baby isn't doing something that they should be doing, I would love to get them into physical therapy to help them get there, or speech therapy to help them get there. And so I think identifying it, not being embarrassed to identify it as a parent, bringing it up to your pediatrician, and then deciding with them when you need intervention is like the best thing to do.
And what about, so I talked to you about like Max having like a little bit of an aggressive hitting problem.
Yes. Comes from a place of love. He's so cute.
But like how do you have any, you have to like, you're not a parent, but you're giving all these parents parenting tips. Like, is that just from like experience, like working with clients, or? I think,
yeah. So some of it was in our training for sure. We did a lot of.
Because you have to know babies from like the day they're born to what, 18 years old?
21.
That's like a huge spectrum of
so
like
crazy
issues, like very niche things going on at every single stage.
For sure. It is so crazy. Like I'll talk to, you know, a 12-year-old girl about getting her period, and then I'll go and see a newborn baby, and then I'll go see a 21-year-old in college. And it's like how it's crazy. I mean, that's why we train as much as we do. I did a lot of school and a lot of training, and I'm still learning every day. I mean, I'm learning every single day. I have a lot of knowledge, but they teach you in medical school that like when you become a doctor, you're going to be a lifelong learner. And I always thought that was like a funny, silly phrase, but it's true. There's new things coming out and you learn through experiences. So yes, a lot of what I've learned is from working with people. And then for my education, we did a lot of developmental pediatrics in residency, where you kind of learn what's normal, what's not normal development, and then how to sort of help with different things that can happen, especially I think toddlers can use a lot of help sometimes. But yeah, it's just, I also speak to parents. So, you know, you'll tell me what worked and didn't work for Max, and then I can take that and hopefully pass on similar information to another family who's going through something similar with a similar age
He was good this weekend. We went to like a little indoor like play group, and I was really nervous he was gonna like beat up all the kids, and he would go up to them and he went, Nice.
That's perfect. So he's learning his nice touch.
Yeah. But then he's like gonna beat the crap out of his stuffed animals and then like kiss them and say nice. And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
I think with toddlers, they have really big feelings and they don't know. He's obviously like starting to talk and communicate, but he can't say like, mommy, I feel sad. Or mommy, I feel frustrated.
Like the rolling on the floor tantrums.
It's hard because they have these big feelings and they can't communicate them. And so they just like have an outburst.
We can't throw any more toilet paper in the toilet.
Yes.
Like, it's
sorry,
done.
We have to save some. Right?
Yeah.
And they don't like being told no.
Yeah.
They like telling you no, but they don't like being told no. And they can't communicate that. And I think it gets better.
Is this the hardest time? From seeing newborns to 21-year-olds, I mean, I'm sure like there are different hard times. Like teenagers are weird, but like, what is like the hardest parenting time?
So I think the newborn stage can be really hard because it's a big adjustment.
Yeah.
And then I think between 1 and 2, that is so hard. It is I don't want to say it's my least favorite like visits in the office, but they hate me.
Our visits.
I mean, I love seeing you guys, of course, but between 1 and 2, they hate the doctor. They are very scared. They remember that they get their shots there. They're still getting a good number of shots and they can't say anything. I also can't explain to them what I'm doing. After 2, like between 2 and 3, we can do a little bribery. We can talk to them. I can explain. We can make it a game. Between 1 and 2 is really hard for me as a doctor, but I think that also is reflective in parenting. They're just like really cute little monsters at that age. Yeah.
I was like, when am I going to feel the urge to like have another one of you? Because like that hasn't happened.
They're also not potty trained yet, so it's like you're going through these diapers with like real things in there that like smell terrible.
I saw a kid at the park the other day who was like literally 7 years old and peed his pants though. So I was like, I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah. I mean, that's not great either. There's phases, but toddlerhood is hard. It's fun. Like they have a lot of personality that comes out, so that can be really fun. But there's a lot of tantruming. They call it the terrible 2s. I think it's more like the terrible 1 to 2s, and then it tends to get a little bit better, in my opinion. But they do get better with time.
So I want to break to play a little diamond game since, we're a diamond company.
Yes.
So since you work with New York City moms, and I feel like there's a lot of different kinds that you probably see.
Definitely.
Lots of characters. I'm going to give you different diamond rings and you'll tell me what type of New York City mom fits this kind of engagement ring. I'm sure you see a lot of engagement rings too. I
do. I love looking at engagement rings. I told you I love diamonds, so I'm always noticing. Yeah. But yes, I do see a lot of engagement rings.
Let's start with this one.
Okay.
This one is a 7-carat round brilliant with tapered baguettes on a platinum setting. So like pretty like classic. So what kind of New York City mom?
This is an Upper East Side mom. This is definitely an Upper East Side mom.
Do they cross the park to come see you?
They do cross the park to come see me. I have moms that come from downtown, from Hoboken, from New Jersey, from Westchester.
She is the most sought after pediatrician, and I got her right away.
Well, I got you. So I got you. This is gorgeous. This is a classic. I think an Upper East Side mom. It's just like old money, beautiful, never goes out of style.
Her like 12-month-old is already like applying to private school.
They have her, they have like a legacy in the private school on the Upper East Side. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, what about this east-west set emerald cut in like a button back bezel, like matte finish?
I'm an emerald cut girl.
This like a kind of funkier really funky setting.
This looks really good on my hand.
It does.
Maybe this is what I'll get one day. This is, I kind of think like a Brooklyn mom. Mm-hmm. Like a Brooklyn Heights or Williamsburg mom. Like dresses effortlessly chic. Comes into the office in like the coolest outfit despite being 3 days postpartum. That's giving like a really cool Brooklyn mom. Owns like a brownstone. Yeah, love.
Yeah, I think so too.
And like maybe me in the future.
Are you going to move to Brooklyn?
No.
Okay.
I just like that ring.
Okay, this is an oval set in a two-tone rose gold pave band.
This is really pretty. These diamonds are stunning. I feel like this could be an Upper West Side mom, or it could be like the Murray Hill moms. The ones that like live on Park Avenue but sort of downtown. I think that's what I think more of. Upper West Side's like usually a little funkier. This feels a little bit more classic to me, especially with the rose gold.
It's like a girly girl.
This is feminine. I kind of think like Park Avenue, downtown area.
I agree. Okay, an elongated old mine cut in a yellow gold solitaire.
Yeah, that's Upper West Side.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's so pretty. That's Upper West Side mom. Yes, a lot of the moms, I mean, this is a particularly gorgeous one, but I see a lot of yellow gold
Yeah.
solitaires. I see a lot of yellow gold solitaires, a lot of rounds. I think it's also interesting depending on like a younger mom versus like a mom who has older children, like how the diamond styles have changed. But this, like for a young mom on the Upper West Side, I work on the Upper West Side, so that's what I see the most of, something like this for sure.
Well,
Stunning.
yeah, that is probably interesting that you see like a progression. You know, like all the ring trends from seeing all
sure.
the different moms.
For sure.
Because now there's like this trend on TikTok saying that like a classic round brilliant solitaire is a grandma ring.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, a classic round solitaire is just the most classic ring you could ever have.
Yeah.
It will never go out of style. Like, yeah, my great grandma had a classic round solitaire
It all comes full circle.
that my mom then wore. My grandma wore a pair, like a gorgeous
Okay,
pair.
so now pairs are in.
Totally.
So what I'm saying is everything comes full circle. Now our grandma's rings are what's cool for like Gen Z brides.
Yes.
Yeah.
My grandma had a pair with tapered baguettes, like the first
Yeah.
one that we tried on. It was so beautiful and classic. And since she passed away, now my mom wears that one, but she wore the round, and now she wears the gorgeous pair.
Trends
She's
come and
in
go.
with the trends. Yep.
Last but not least, a bezel set fancy yellow cushion.
Oh, cool.
This one's a little bit tricky.
This is not Uptown. This is not Upper West. This is like Tribeca.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. This is definitely Tribeca. Maybe Brooklyn also. I think some overlap into Brooklyn, but this is a Tribeca mom. Like a cool Tribeca mom. I've done some work in the Tribeca offices that we have down there, and those are some cool moms too.
It's so weird how like mom style changes like neighborhood to neighborhood in the city. I feel like it's so specific.
It is so specific. Like I feel like we agreed on most of those.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you obviously see women from all over the city, but it's funny that you probably also notice patterns, like kind of based on where they live, if their personality fits the neighborhood that they live in.
I know, it's so bizarre.
So funny.
So would you say you're Upper West Side?
So
you live on Upper East.
I live on the Upper East Side. I like to have a little separation from work and home, but I used to live on the Upper West Side. I really like both of them, honestly. The Upper West Side, I feel like, has more like cute restaurants and less like commercial places, but the Upper East Side, the convenience is really, really great. They just like have everything right there. So I love both. I am an uptown girl. I don't see myself moving back downtown. I have lived downtown, but I think I'll stay between the Upper East and the Upper West Side.
Yeah, I agree. I'm done with downtown.
It's fun to go and then come back up.
When I was younger and I lived at NYU, I never went above like 14th Street, and now I never go below 14th
Yeah,
Street.
you're like, it's a little scary down here.
Okay, I'm going to pull up some questions from our audience.
Amazing.
Some maybe a little specific. So the first one is, why is my 3-year-old so controlling? Where I sit, where I turn in the car, it never ends.
It's a good question because toddlers' favorite people are their parents, and they know in school that they shouldn't boss around other children, and if they do, they probably get told not to do that by their teachers. Especially 3-year-olds are typically starting some type of threes program, and so they want to exert their dominance either on their sibling if they're able to, or on their parents. It's just like a control thing. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. They just want to have control over something, and the parents is the easiest thing.
But then they might have a meltdown if you don't do what they say.
Yeah, 3, they're a little bit better. 3, they're a little bit better because you can usually talk them through something. But yeah, they might have a meltdown.
Parent preference. My husband and I split duties, but my toddler only wants me, yells if dad helps.
Yeah, that's super common. And we
Honestly,
see it.
Max does that to me too.
Yeah, he's having a mom phase, you said right now.
Yeah, and Kyle's like, I want to help, but you can't because he's gonna freak out if you try to
Totally.
help.
I see it go every which way. So sometimes if one parent is home with the kid all the time, then they'll like that parent more. Sometimes if one parent is home with the kid, they'll like the other parent more because they're a novelty. So when they show up from work at the end of the day, they're like, oh my God, mom is home or dad is home. I think there's not a rhyme or reason to why they pick one parent, but it's very, very common for them to go through a phase. In general, we see that little boys tend to get very attached to their moms and little girls tend to get very attached to their dads, especially in that toddler age group. I'm sure there's some biology, psychology behind that, but that is definitely a trend that we see. It evens out as they get older.
Okay, great. So how much
It won't
older?
it won't be only you forever.
How important is it for a newborn baby under 6 months to have a strict schedule?
Not important. I would say especially for the first 2 months, do what works for you guys. Like, you are just figuring it out.
I was like logging like every bottle, and then there was like every pee and poop, and then like every nap, and I was like, I can't log anymore. I can't.
Well, also, it's like, then what are you doing with that information? Then you have all this information. People come into my office all the time, and they're like, do you want to see how many times my baby peed? I'm like, no, they're 6 months old. Like, I know they're okay. It's one thing in the first week of life, but in the first 2 months especially, like, just do whatever schedule works for you. Sleep when you can, feed the baby when they're hungry, make sure they're peeing and pooping. After, I would say 4 months is when you want to try and get your baby on a sleep schedule, because it's better for them to get consistent sleep. But it's not like people are always coming into my office being like, what should their wake windows be?
I never knew what that even meant.
I'm like, let's focus on sleeping. Once we get your baby sleeping through the night, then we can get on a bit of a nap schedule. But it's really in the first 6 months, just prioritize your sleep, prioritize their sleep, prioritize making sure they're getting enough calories. That's it.
This is my question. When is it important to like put your baby in the crib like drowsy but awake? Because I never did that, and now that's like biting me in the ass, but I couldn't. He would like freak out.
So we try to do that as early as we can because it promotes good sleep hygiene in the fact that they can fall asleep on their own. It's so much easier said than done. I always say it in my office too. Like, I'm going to tell you to do this, but I'm going home and I don't have a baby. So it's very easy for me to tell you, like, let your baby cry it out for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, like, I'm sleeping soundly in my bed with no baby screaming. But practicing from a young age, getting them nice and drowsy, even from like 2, 3, especially by 4 months, is really good practice moving forward, so that eventually you can just put your baby in the crib, you do your bedtime routine, and you get out of there and they fall asleep.
I didn't do that.
Next time. He's fine. He's doing great. He slept. You said last week he slept great.
But the last 2 nights I haven't slept.
I know. But maybe tonight will be good. I'm sending good juju into the sleep universe for him.
Thanks. How can I best support my kid's immune system?
Good sleep is one of the best things that you can do. So babies and young children should be sleeping 10, 12 hours a night, plus their naps, depending on how old they are. Eating a diverse diet, so making sure they're getting all of their nutrients, some fruits and veggies, some protein, some dairy, some carbohydrates. Toddlers can be really tricky with eating too, so you might have to sneak in some fruits and vegetables where you can, but making sure that in a day you're hitting all the food groups. And then vaccinate your kids. Vaccines build up your immune system in the best way. Similarly, you can have your child play with other children. People are really scared for babies to get sick. And in the first month or 2, of course, it's very scary and more of an emergency. But when you have a kid like Max's age, it's actually a good thing for them to get sick. Not so sick, but getting common cold is how they build up their immune system. So those are all different ways for them to get stronger.
Okay, this is just a question for me since I have you here.
Yeah, of course.
How many times do I like offer a food that he will just not eat or throw on the floor until like
you give up on it?
Give up. Yeah.
I would never really give up on it. I would take breaks from it.
I hate wasting food.
For sure. I would more like if you do it 2 or 3 days in a row and he's like, I am not having this, give it like 2 weeks and then you can try it again. Because I'm not going to say keep forcing it on him. Like if he won't eat eggs, you don't need to like, scramble a bajillion eggs with the hope that one day he'll eat them. But I wouldn't say, a lot of people come in, they say, we offered eggs, he didn't like it. I'm like, okay, well, he didn't know what they tasted like. So you want to try and keep incorporating them or find a way to incorporate it in a way that he likes. So if he loves cheese, okay, melt cheese on the eggs and then see if
the only way he's going to try a new thing is if like I'm eating it and not giving it to him. And then he's like, wait, I want that.
So that's actually one of my favorite tricks is you make a plate of like what their food would be, but put it on your own plate and you sit there and eat it in front of them and you're like, this is so good. And then you say, you want a bite? And instead of being like, hey Max, I'm gonna force you to eat your broccoli, it's mom eating broccoli being like, this is delicious. Max, do you want to try some? And then he's more likely to eat it.
I think he's too smart for broccoli, but yeah.
Probably fair. The green ones are hard, but some of the other foods you can disguise.
Okay, this is my question too. Screen time.
Yeah.
Very controversial, and like I even find myself like judging myself or judging other people when it comes to screen time. Like, I know you're not supposed to show your kid a screen before they're like 2 years old, but sometimes you kind of like have to. So how do you like navigate that in this like world?
Totally. I think it's unavoidable. And also again, like sort of back to what we were talking about before.
My child has never seen a screen. It's like, okay, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I needed to pee for a second.
100%. And so that is completely fair. This is what I say about screen time. Obviously, like little babies should not be staring at a screen. There's really no reason for them to be. It's more in the like older babies, toddler age. I still think real person interaction is always going to be better than like education on a screen. So it shouldn't be part of their daily routine. It shouldn't be like, we wake up, we eat breakfast, we plop you in front of the iPad for an hour for your like cartoon hour. But screens are a great resource in certain scenarios. On an airplane, like, yeah, if your baby is screaming bloody murder, like, you can let them watch a little screen time. At the doctor's office, I'm always putting things on the screen, not always, but if your baby is really upset or your toddler's really upset, if I can calm them down for 5 minutes, watching a few minutes of a show on YouTube isn't going to, damage them long term. It's more we don't want it to become a part of their everyday routine. It should be something that is like a reward sometimes, used on sort of a case-by-case basis.
So I shouldn't use it to force feed him?
No, I wouldn't use it to force feed him. You can use it when you have a meeting and you need him to focus on something else. But when you're feeding him, we don't want it to become associated with certain activities. We don't want it to be like, well, Mom.
What if he doesn't eat unless he's watching tractors on a screen?
Well, maybe we can get a book of tractors and show him those instead.
Okay.
So you just have to get a little creative. Or you could say, we're going to eat first and then we can watch tractors, and it can be much shorter. Mm-hmm. So you just want to try and minimize it. There's also kids love to FaceTime, and that's okay, obviously, in small doses as well, to see grandparents and family that live in different places. We just don't want them to get addicted to it. Like, I'm addicted to my phone. I'm sure you're addicted to your phone in the way of our work and just this life. All of social media is really addictive, and kids' brains are forming, and we don't want them to form with an addiction to social media and screens from a really young age.
What if what can we do better as parents? Because I'm always checking my phone or trying to film him or take pictures of him so he sees us on our phone.
Yeah.
And he wants the phone.
Yeah. I think some of it's unavoidable. What am I going to say? Go get a disposable camera and take all your pictures. That's not realistic either. It's more so when you're playing with him, when you're having time with you and Max, especially as a working mom, it's he's at daycare. So when you're having some time after daycare, put your phone away for an hour if you can.
The grandparents demand videos.
For sure. And they love it and they can get them, but that could be 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And then you're going to put your phone away and you're going to read and you're going to play and you're going to eat and do all the things without your phone. It's just setting, there's phone time and then there's phone free time, which honestly is good for us too. And having an excuse to put your phone away for an hour is really healthy for our brains also.
Okay. Let me see if there are any other questions that I think are worth chatting about. Okay, maybe last one. If you could give parents one piece of advice to feel more confident day to day, what would it be?
One piece of advice to feel more confident. My favorite thing to say to new parents, is that new parents, moms especially, are superheroes, and that what you're doing is really, really hard, but you're doing it. And so just take it one day at a time. You don't have to, be better than everybody else that's ever done this. You just have to be good enough, and you just have to be the best for your child. Your child's going to love you no matter what. So just show up for them and be the best version of yourself.
I love that. On that note, where can people follow you? And you're doing the Lord's work.
Thank you. It's my side job on top of my regular job of taking care of cute kids like Max. So I'm on TikTok and Instagram for now. I'm at Dr. Amanda Kravitz, posting tons of educational content for parents of all ages, but focusing a lot on new parents, with vaccine guidance and tips for parenting and feeding and all that good stuff. A lot of what we talked about today. So follow me there. I think
it's so crazy that so many people have found you on TikTok that I know. And I was like, that's my pediatrician.
Yeah. You're I knew her first. Yeah. She found me. It's great. It's so cool to be able to.
You're going to blow up and now we won't be able to see you anymore.
No, I never want to stop seeing patients. I love doing this as well, but I went into medicine to see patients and treat families, and I absolutely love it. So I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me.
And hopefully you'll have your own podcast.
Yeah, that's the goal. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
I could talk to you all day long.